Mechanical keyboards. This is an expensive rabbit hole I never would have thought I would be sucked into, but here I am nonetheless, well over $300 into a clump of metal and plastic that you click-clack on, plus a bonus little waste of money that I originally picked up to poke around the hole of the rabbits. Anyway, let's get right into the not an expert whatsoever build and review of my new daily driver, a Keychron Q6 in silver gray with Tangerine switches and expensive keycaps. Stick around to the very end for a sound comparison as well.
Wah, full size is big and ugly. Why'd you not get like a 20% keyboard like a cool kid?
Well, unlike many people who just use their keyboard for creating Word docs or gaming, I actually avidly use the numpad, especially when editing and using creative apps like Blender. My first mechanical keyboard was the Keychron Q6, also another full-size board, and I don't think I ever went a day without using the numpad. I hate using the top number row when I need to type in numbers, and the numpad is just second nature to me. Why didn't I get a TKL and a numpad? Honestly, after building this, it did come to mind a little bit, but I think I would rather just have one clump sitting on my desk than having two things plugged in. Even wireless numpads are going to need to be plugged in at some point to charge, and it's also cheaper to just get a full-size board unless I get like a poopy quality numpad, which would destroy my ego. So let's briefly go over the packaging. The box is really pretty, and when opening it, it had a super satisfying air pocket suction slidey thing. I don't know how to explain it. It's like that suck you get when opening an Apple product. Anyway, it had 2 layers of foam, and underneath was the bare bones keyboard. It comes with a nice sleeved or braided, whatever this is, USB-C male to male cable of sufficient length with a female USB-C to male USB-A adapter. I got the bare bones kit because it was cheaper and I could put my own switches and keycaps on it. And I also just wanted to assemble my keyboard on my own. The PCB has south-facing switches and therefore RGB, and has a lot of RGB modes. I kind of sort of grew out of that gamery rainbow vomit phase though, and now really only use a static color, and I've been doing the same with my PC's lighting. The aluminum board is super stiff and heavy and good quality. I'll be honest, I haven't tried other brands other than taking a look at the GMMK Pro from Glorious at like a Micro Center, but this one is solid and I don't have a single part that I dislike. Before I did a wee bit of modding, there was a bit of ping just because it's all metal, but I usually have headphones on so I wouldn't be able to hear it. But with the single mod I did, it's barely noticeable. The plate is gasket mounted, which is supposed to reduce pinging and make the typing a bit softer and feel nicer. This keyboard supports VIA and QMK, where you can customize key layouts, the lighting, and create macros. At the moment, I'm too dumb to create macros, but I would love to learn how to use it to streamline work in like Premiere and Lightroom and stuff. The switches I chose are the C3 Equalz and the Key Company's Tangerine 62-gram linear switches. I first heard about these on an LTT video, and apparently these are regarded to be one of the best linear switches made. I also wanted a linear switch because the Ducky had Cherry MX Blues, and I kind of outgrew the clicky, and it just started getting super annoying and loud. Anyway, back to the Tangies. It's so comfy, it's super quiet, and is the perfect weight to type on for me. It also sounds really nice as well. I did have a few switches that were performing suboptimally, or they were kind of broken, like they were unlubed and one of them was clicking for some reason, but I got extras to swap them out. They do give the RGB a red tint and makes the blue light white, because that's how just light works. It's a bit hard to fine-tune the colors, but it worked completely fine for my application. I do type quite a bit loud and bottom out pretty hard, but it's nowhere near as annoying as like MX Blues with their high-pitched clicking, and this is pretty much more just lower-pitched thumps, or should I say fox. You may have noticed at this point there were like 3 different keycaps on this board. Well, that's because this board's gone through 3 caps of set caps. What? 3 sets of keycaps. First was this yellow pudding one that I originally had on the Ducky, which turns out bleeds light like crazy because they were like $18 from Amazon. And then these white and gray pudding keycaps that were much better quality and I actually really liked the look of. And I would have liked them more if I had known South Face and RGB doesn't really work with backlit keycaps. So finally I said screw it and completely plugged up the rabbit hole by getting these PBTFans twist keycaps. These are dye sub double shot PBT keycaps with a cherry profile. These were expensive, but these were really the only and first keycaps that I instantly said, I really like that when looking for new keycaps for like 2 hours and I couldn't be happier with them. They did have a Weeb version with Japanese text on them for like $15 more, but I just felt like those looked a bit too cluttered, so I decided to go with the poverty spec set. Obviously, as these aren't backlit and I usually do work with lights off or at night, I can't read the legends at all, but I think I should have no problem knowing where each key is if I can type at 122 words per minute. Anyway, I have a sound comparison at the end with these different keycaps as well. Right, so the mods. I've really only done one mod so far, and that's the tape mod or the Tempest mod. Basically, that's just putting about 3 layers of tape on the back of the PCB to make it more dense, creating a deeper, more solid sound. I didn't record the process, and I don't feel like taking the back off for B-roll because it's a bit tedious, but I did it, okay? You can see the tape from under the switches. Anyway, the result is pretty noticeable, as you'll hear in the sound comparison, and I love it. It's like typing on stone. I started to kind of dread typing on the Ducky recently because it was so loud, but finally with this keyboard and especially with the tape mod, I actually really want to type now. I probably will eventually go and lube the switches and especially the stabilizers. They have a slight, you know, that plastic on plastic rubbing sound and feel, like a scratchy thing, which I sometimes notice, but for the time being, this will absolutely do. So there you go. Thank you for watching me cope with how much money I've spent on what the average person spends like $15 on Amazon. I did mention the bonus waste of money in the beginning, but I didn't want to edit that into this video. But if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. I'll probably make the video anyway, but again, thank you for watching. Enjoy the sound comparisons. Stay safe and don't die. See ya.